Hello. How are you all? Have you been studying, following our videos? Maybe you have not started studying because the answer key for NET has not yet come. Maybe it will come tonight or tomorrow. We are waiting. But while you wait, let us also have some fun discussions. Today we are discussing Unit 3, Fiction and Prose. I'll share my PPT with you as usual. I hope you have been following all the videos and I hope you have been reading extra. So coming to Unit 3, Fiction. Guys, today I have added a lot of authors and works. And these are all important authors and works asked in NET, SET, GATE, and other major competitive exams. Today, by the way, we started our induction program. And in the beginning, I was like fumbling a little bit. But as soon as I started talking about literature, I just rocked. Because we all enjoyed it so much. There was so much fun. We discussed so many things. And tonight, I'm also going to give some quizzes based on that. In the induction program, Induction Crash Course, rupees 300 wala. Just 300, 9 days full of extreme fun with lifelong access videos. But koi nahi, if you are not there, no problem. We have our Valat at 10. Okay, shall we go on to the slides? I was just making small talk so that more people will join. Starting with British fiction. Oh, the earliest novel or fiction in English. Kya hoga? The earliest novel or fiction in English is the Canterbury Tales with its prologue. The prologue to the Canterbury Tales has worked like a forerunner of the novel. So many characters, they are all described, so many stories being told. Chaucer laid the foundations of fiction. Yeah. So in the Renaissance period after Chaucer, there is something called Renaissance novel. Remember, guys, the novel as a genre came into being only in the 18th century. But even before that, in the Renaissance period, there is something called Renaissance novel. Do you know the important Renaissance novels? We have Don Quixote, Arcadia, The New Atlantis, The Unfortunate Traveler. Tell me, who is the author of the work Don Quixote? It is Miguel de Cervantes. Recently, Valat organized a lecture by an American professor on Don Quixote. Did you watch it? If you did not, no problem. You can just Google search and you will get it. Don Quixote by Miguel de Cervantes. It is like one of the earliest novels in the Western world. Then there is Arcadia by Philip Sidney. It's a long prose romance. It's considered a Renaissance novel. The New Atlantis by Francis Bacon. The Unfortunate Traveler or the Life of Jack Wilton by Thomas Nash. These are called Renaissance novels. Did you know that, guys? Right. Can you name the prose satires written by these writers? Thomas More. Of course, it is Utopia. Did you know, guys, Utopia is a prose satire? Thomas More is a very major prose writer. Utopia is a satire on England. Raphael Hitlerday is talking about the island called Utopia. And the father of English prose satire is Jonathan Swift. Jonathan Swift's satires are very famous. The Battle of the Books and A Tale of a Tub. A Tale of a Tub is a religious allegory. Battle of the Books is the prologue to Tale of a Tub. There are also very coarse prose satires that he wrote, such as A Modest Proposal. A modest proposal to prevent the children of poor people from being a burden to their parents. Oh, that is the full title. Okay, please read more. These are very major writers. You will get questions based on them. Now, can you name the prose satires written by these writers? Robert Burton. Robert Burton wrote Anatomy of Melancholy. And they're all 17th century writers. Ayyo, sir, I have written Jack Walton. Dekho, that is wrong, isn't it? Isaac Walton. Sir Thomas Browne. Sir Thomas Browne is the author of Religio Medici. Religio Medici. And then Jeremy, so many other works are there. Jeremy Taylor is the author of Holy Living and Holy Dying. Thomas Fuller wrote The History of the Worthies of England. What did Isaac Walton write? Isaac Walton wrote The Complete Angler. Remember, guys, John Milton wrote prose in Latin as well as English. Yes, tell me, what is the name that John Milton gave to his prose works? What is the term that he used to denote the prose works? It is Milton's left hand. It is called his left hand. Karthika is saying Three Men in a Boat, but that's a 20th century prose work. Three Men in a Boat is by Jerome K. Jerome, not Jeremy Taylor, Jerome K. Jerome. Are you loving this, guys? Is this a useful discussion? If you like the discussion, let me know. You can like the video. Okay, what are the features of these writers? What are the features of Richardson, Fielding, Smollett, and Sterne? As you might know, they are called the four wheels of the English novel. Richardson, Fielding, Smollett, and Sterne are called the four wheels of the English novel. Richardson wrote very moralistic works. Richardson's Pamela, Clarissa, Sir Charles Grandison. They are sentimental novels against which Henry Fielding wrote. What did he write? Against which Henry Fielding wrote Joseph Andrews, picaresque novels. Joseph Andrews, Tom Jones, Tobias Smollett also wrote picaresque novels. Yeah, Anupriya is telling us picaresque novel. Harpreet Kaur is telling us picaresque novel. Very good. What did Lawrence Sterne write? Lawrence Sterne's novel is Tristram Shandy as well as Sentimental Journey. That is right, Shweta. Shweta is reminding us Samuel Richardson wrote epistolary novels. His 3 novels are epistolary. Remember that, everybody. Very, very good. Now, can I ask you a question? Which is the novel subtitled Virtue Rewarded? Easy question. It is Pamela. In which novel do you have Parson Adams? Parson Adams. Parson Adams is in Tristram Shandy. Tristram Shandy. In which novel do you have Harriet Byron being rescued by one Charles? Harriet Byron being rescued by one Charles. It is in Sir Charles Grandison. Sir Charles Grandison. Will you remember? Yes. Moving on. Name the works of these romantic prose writers. Jane Austen bolo. What are the works of Jane Austen? In the correct chronological order bolo. Sense and Sensibility. Then Pride and Prejudice. Mansfield Park. Emma. Persuasion. Northanger Abbey. William Hazlitt wrote lots of Parson Adams is in Joseph Andrews. Yeah. Parson Yorick is in Tristram Shandy. Sorry so much. Deepsa pointed out the correct answer. Parson Yorick is in Tristram Shandy. Actually, that was what I was thinking. Parson Adams is in Joseph Andrews. I was thinking of Parson Yorick and said Parson Adams. So sorry. This is why I need you with me. Because when I make a mistake, you will point out. Thank you so much, Deepsa. Yes. Now, William Hazlitt bolo. William Hazlitt. What are the important works by William Hazlitt? William Hazlitt wrote a lot of essays on going a journey. It's a very interesting essay. Have you read it? There are many questions asked from William Hazlitt. He wrote on reading old books. On reading old books. The Indian Jugglers. These are all important essays by William Hazlitt. There is no mistake here, okay? I am now telling the correct answer. so sorry. Now, Charles Lamb is very easy. What is the pseudonym used by Charles Lamb? Pseudonym. No, Kartika. Brave New World is not by any of these people. Brave New World is Aldous Huxley. Charles Lamb, Oxford in the Vacation, Dream Children. He used the pen name Elia. Who wrote Literature of Knowledge and the Literature of Power? Literature of Knowledge and the Literature of Power. It is Thomas De Quincey. He also wrote on murder, considered one of the fine arts. Thomas De Quincey. Yes, Charles Lamb also wrote Tales from Shakespeare. Very good. What about Mary Shelley? Mary Shelley wrote Frankenstein, Valperga. There are many works by Mary Shelley. You have to know them because these are important writers. These writers might be asked in net and sets. Will you remember, guys? Okay, moving on. Who are the other Victorian novelists? I have given here William Makepeace Thackeray, Charles Dickens, Bronte sisters, Thomas Carlyle. Who are the other major Victorian writers? Bolo. George Meredith, George Gissing, George Eliot, 3 Georges, and also Thomas Hardy. Hannah, Thomas Hardy, Elizabeth Gaskell, Benjamin Disraeli, Edward Bulwer Lytton. Do you remember these writers? This is like a crash course. I am showing you lots of important authors. You should remember to look them up. You should read extra. And these will be amazing in your exam. Yeah, very good. Now tell me the works in the Victorian period. Works. Who wrote The Egoist? The Egoist. It is by George Meredith. Who wrote Odd Women? Odd Women. It is by George Gissing. Who wrote A Pair of Blue Eyes? Is it Toni Morrison? No, it is Thomas Hardy. A Pair of Blue Eyes. Who wrote The Newcomes? The Newcomes. It is by Thackeray. Who wrote Wives and Daughters? It is by Elizabeth Gaskell. Very good. Now, Victorian essays, critics, and prose writers. John Ruskin, Matthew Arnold, John Henry Newman, Walter Pater. There are so many authors, Victorians, in that wrote essay, criticism. Who wrote Sesame and Lilies here? Sesame and Lilies is by John Ruskin. John Ruskin was a critic. He was a prose writer who wrote Culture and Anarchy. Unto this last also by Ruskin. Culture and Anarchy, Matthew Arnold. Who wrote Laws and Gain, Grammar of Assent. It is by Cardinal Newman. Who wrote Marius the Epicurean. Marius the Epicurean, Studies in the History of Renaissance. These are by Walter Pater. Walter Pater. Guys, I hope you will read extra. Is this discussion boring, guys? If you don't find it boring, like the video. If you find it boring, chodo, kuch mat karo. Okay, can you name the novels as well as prose works of these writers? Virginia Woolf. Virginia Woolf wrote so many novels. The Voyage Out. It is also called Melimbrosia. Then, famous Mrs. Dalloway. Then, To the Lighthouse. Then, Jacob's Room was there before that. Then, novels, Orlando, Flush, Between the Acts. Yeah. And also, essays collected in Common Reader, Moments of Being. Common Reader में बहुत सारे essays हैं, बहुत सारे. Tell me the names. Room of One's Own. Professions for Women. Room of One's Own is a book. Modern Fiction. How It Strikes a Contemporary. So many other. Yeah. D.H. Lawrence. Can you name a prose work by D.H. Lawrence? He has written about Thomas Hardy. He has written about American literature and Walt Whitman. He has written about Freudian psychoanalysis. He has written Why the Novel Matters. Why the Novel Matters. D.H. Lawrence ke novels bolo. Works by D.H. Lawrence. D.H. Lawrence novels. White Peacock. Aaron's Rod Kangaroo. Plumed Serpent. Then Sons and Lovers. Then Women in Love. Before that, The Rainbow. Then there are so many short stories also he wrote. Remember that. The Order of Chrysanthemums is an important short story. What about Graham Greene? So many novels. Catholic novels are there. International spy novels are there. Our Man in Havana is a spy novel. Which are the Catholic novels of Graham Greene? Guys, take down notes. Read all this. Catholic novels bolo. Brighton Rock. The Power and the Glory. The Heart of the Matter. The End of the Affair. Then there are two major autobiographies that he wrote. Ways of Escape. A Sort of Life. These are important short stories. In net, they have asked all this before. Aldous Huxley. Aldous Huxley wrote Brave New World, isn't it? So many novels are there. Tell me all the works. Chrome Yellow. Point, Counterpoint. Antic Hay. Those Barren Leaves. The Island. Ape and Essence. Huxley has written essays also. Jesting Pilot, guys, is based on Huxley's travel to India. Jesting Pilot is based on Huxley's travel to India. Huxley wrote about Vedanta. Remember that. Huxley wrote about Vedanta. Salman Rushdie. Salman Rushdie's first novel, he's a British writer, Indian British writer. Salman Rushdie wrote Grimace, Shame, Fury, Shalimar the Clown, then Midnight's Children. So many later novels also. Golden House. And what about his essays? Imaginary Homelands. Commonwealth literature does not exist. Outside the Veil. Remember? Yes. Satanic Verses. Amazing. Guys, we are doing an amazing job here, remembering all these writers and their works. Let us all like the video. Tang, 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 tang. Let us like the video. Please like the video. Very good. Guys, next question. Doris Lessing. Doris Lessing, Golden Notebook. Grass is Singing. Children of Violence series. It is stories of Martha Quest. Am I boring you? I'm just trying to remind you all the novels and works. She wrote many non-fiction works also, a small personal voice. Non-fiction works of Doris Lessing is important. They have already asked in it. Victory City, huh? Good advices are rarer than rubies. I didn't know that. Jome Lolan is saying, good advices, eh? Good advice is rarer than rubies. Good. Thank you. Now, American fiction. American fiction. Are you ready, guys? Father of American literature, kaun tha bolo? Father of American literature is Mark Twain. What are the works of Mark Twain? Adventures of Tom Sawyer, Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, Life on the Mississippi, The Prince and the Pauper, The Gilded Age, The Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court. So many interesting works of Mark Twain. What is his real name? Samuel Langhorne Clemens, isn't it? Right. Afro-American prose and fiction writers, dekho, Toni Morrison, Bluest Eye, Sula, Song of Solomon, Tar Baby, Jazz. Richard Wright, Native Son, Black Boy. Zora Neale Hurston, Their Eyes Were Watching God. Isn't it? Alice Walker. Alice Walker wrote In Search of Her Mother's Gardens, The Color Purple. That's right. That's right. And then W.E.B. Du Bois. What is his major work? Souls of Black Folk. Souls of Black Folk by W.E.B. Du Bois. W.E.B. Du Bois. Will you remember? There he talked about double consciousness. Double consciousness means what? You are looking at yourself from the other's perspective. That is double consciousness. Popular 19th century American fiction writers, dekho. Do you know books by these writers? Let me ask you questions. Who wrote the story, The Pit and the Pendulum? Answer me. Who wrote the story, The Pit and the Pendulum? It is Edgar Allan Poe. The Pit and the Pendulum. Who wrote The Birthmark? The Birthmark story. It is Nathaniel Hawthorne. That is right, Anupriya. Alice Walker coined the term womanism. Correct. Who wrote the essay American Scholar. Who wrote the essay American Scholar? It is Emerson. Right. Of course, Natalia and Hawthorne wrote Scarlet Letter, House of the Seven Gables, Blithedale Romance. Edgar Allan Poe wrote so many stories. Oval Portrait, The Cask of Amontillado, Pit and the Pendulum. Yeah, it said that. The Black Cat. Very good. Who wrote Typee? A Peep into Polynesian Life. It is Herman Melville. Typee. Billy Budd also. Moby Dick also. White Jacket also. Henry David Thoreau. Walden. Civil Disobedience. These are two very famous works. Yeah. Henry James. Henry James. Roderick Random. Nay, that is Tobias Smollett. Roderick Hudson. Henry James. The Portrait of a Lady. What Macy Knew. The Ambassadors. The Europeans. Right. So many important works, isn't it? He also wrote a lot of criticism. Thank you, Mishti Ambika. Please remember, guys, to like the video, press the bell button so that you will get notification, and also share the video with your friends. Indumati, oh, even if you did not pay the fees, it's okay. You will get the recording of all the videos when you join. Induction course, 500 people were there. Everybody can join. It is very cheap, only 300 rupees. And also, you can completely get all the course, entire videos. Very good. Stream of consciousness was coined by William James, not Henry James. Stream of consciousness coined by Henry James's brother, William James. Can you name some American short story writers? Don't worry, I have named them. Edgar Allan Poe, O. Henry, Ernest Hemingway was a very major short story writer. William Faulkner, John Updike, remember Rabbit series of novels. Stephen King, horror and cyberpunk writer. Raymond Carver is a very important name now. You should read all these authors. If you remember, tell us the names of some of their works. I will ask you, who wrote Hills Like White Elephants? Who wrote Hills Like White Elephants? Suprita, you will be added to a WhatsApp group and you will get the video. First, you will get link to the live session. After that, it is a live course. After that, you will get recorded video. Okay. Right. Tell me, guys, who wrote Hills Like White Elephants? It is Ernest Hemingway. A Rose for Emily. It is by William Faulkner. William Faulkner. Very good. Who wrote It, the novel It? Stephen King. That's right. Can you name the works of these post-war American writers? We already looked at them. There are so many works by bell hooks. Audre Lorde. Audre Lorde is a very important LGBTQ writer. Okay, LGBTQ. Yes, Smrita is reminding us Last Leaf by O. Henry, The Gift of the Magi by O. Henry, Cop and the Anthem by O. Henry. Very important. Why are these American writers important? Why is Mark Twain important? Suprita, you don't have to worry. You will be added. It will take some hours because hundreds of people are joining. You don't need my help. You will surely be added if you have given the right number. Don't worry. Yes. Why are these American writers important? Mark Twain showed the Mississippi region, and Mark Twain made a satire on American society. He wrote satires of American society. Why is Ernest Hemingway important? He showed American spirit in his novels and short stories. Cannot be defeated, though destroyed. He cannot be defeated. Even if he is destroyed, he cannot be defeated. That kind of Hemingway heroes. Herman Melville also wrote about American spirit, nature versus culture. No, Shamina, they are not just children's books. Mark Twain's books are pillars of American literature. They are not just children's books. F. Scott Fitzgerald depicted the roaring 20s. Roaring 20s. John Steinbeck was a very important writer of the Great Depression. John Steinbeck, writer of the Great Depression. Now, a little bit on Indian fiction. What are the contributions of these Jnanpith awardees? Amitav Ghosh. All these are people who got Jnanpith Award. Very important writers. Amitav Ghosh, you know, extremely important post-colonial writer. These days, he writes about climate change also. Amitav Ghosh's Shadow Lines, Hungry Tide in an Antique Land, Glass Palace, Ibis Trilogy, these are all very important. Bhalachandran Namade, who won Jnanpith Award, advocated nativism. U.R. Ananthamurthy is a very important Kannada writer. His work Samskara was translated by A.K. Ramanujan. U.R. Ananthamurthy also wrote Bharatipura. Kuratulain Haidar, very important Urdu writer. There is nobody like her. She is a major journalist. And she was a very major writer. And can you name the works of these writers who won Sahitya Academy Award? Oh, everybody can. R.K. Narayan, Raja Rao, Bhabani Bhattacharya, Mulk Rajanand, Neeraj C. Chaudhary, Anita Desai, Nayantara Sehgal, Vikram Seth, Chaman Nahal, Shashi Deshpande. Who wrote Gandhi Quartets? Gandhi Quartets. It is Chaman Nahal. Who wrote So Many Hungers? Showing Kajoli, the protagonist. So Many Hungers is by Bhabani Bhattacharya. Who wrote The Intellectual in India? The Intellectual in India. This writer was hounded out from his job because he made a controversial dedication to the English. Yes, it is Neeraj C. Chaudhary, who wrote Autobiography of an Unknown Indian. All right, then post-colonial fiction. Can you name 6 Nigerian novelists? Chinua Achebe, Ben Nokri, Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, Soyinka, and Amos Tutola. There are only 5. There are only 5. I cheated you. This is one name. Who wrote A Man of the People? It is Chinua Achebe. Who wrote The Interpreters? It is Ben Okri. No, it is Bole Soyinka. Who wrote The Famished Road? That is Ben Okri. That is Ben Okri. Who wrote The Palm Wine Drinkard? The Palm Wine Drinkard. It is Amos Tutuola. The Palm Wine Drinkard is by Amos Tutuola. Remember that. Are you getting bored, guys? If not, tell me. 6 Australian novelists. This time you have to tell me. I'm not showing you. 6 Australian novelists. Bolo, bolo. In the chat box, bolo. Australian novelists. Most important is Patrick White. These days, Peter Carey. Other Australian novelists who wrote Who wrote An Imaginary Life based on Ovid? It is David Malouf. Who wrote Schindler's Ark? Yes, they're all here. Patrick White, Richard Flanagan, Thomas Keneally, Tim Winton, Peter Carey, David Malouf. Isn't that great? Guys, I will post the link to the induction course in the description of this video, after the video. Okay? You can join using the link. Can you name 6 Canadian fiction writers? Margaret Atwood, Michael Ondaatje, Alice Munro. Then Jan Martel, who wrote Life of Pi. Rohinton Mistry, Areva. Lucy Maud Montgomery, who wrote Anne of the Green Gables. And also Thomas King. A.D. Hope is not a fiction writer, Ujjwal. Henry Lawson is correct, Anupriya. Can you name 6 Caribbean writers? George Lamming, In the Castle of My Skin, he wrote. Jamaica Kincaid, V.S. Naipaul, Jean Rice, Sam Selvin, and David Dabadine. David Dabadine has written Coolie Odyssey or something. David Dabadine, Coolie, what is it? Do you know anybody? David Dabadine has written Coolie Odyssey. Will you remember? Who of these writers wrote Annie John, Lucy, The Autobiography of My Mother? These are novels by Jamaica Kincaid. Jamaica Kincaid. Of course, Rohinton Mistry is Indian. He's an Indian Parsi Canadian writer. Those who want to join our courses, please see the description of this video. You will be added to the, because you are joining in the last minute, it will take some time because our team is working overtime. So many people are joining nicely. So you will soon be added. Don't worry. You will not miss anything. We will give everything as recording. So that brings to the end, us to the end of the session. Please look at the description of the video for the links. I will post it there. I hope you liked the video. Did you find it useful? Let us know. Right? So good night. I will be back with a quiz on fiction and prose tomorrow. All right. Will you join me tomorrow? Very good. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye. And you can always contact our office also. They will help you. Our office number is 93878 39871.